Everybody, welcome back. Today we are finally going to close the 2023 planner with my final flip through of 2023 for quarter four, which of course is going to be October through December of 2023. I'm going to put a little bit of a disclaimer at the beginning of this. This final quarter of the year turned into a really rough quarter. Our kitten got very, very sick, and if we hadn't taken any action, she would probably have no longer been with us. So I'm just warning you about that in advance in case that is not something you're in a great headspace to hear about. There's going to be a few really dark weeks in here. It's going to start really lighthearted and fun and end really lighthearted and fun, but kind of sandwiched in the middle of there is some not great stuff. So I have nothing on the dashboard here for October, so we're just going to flip to the monthly pages. Sorry, in the last flip through that the first few flip pages basically were out of focus. I think what happened is my camera focused on this and I forgot to refocus it. I have it on autofocus, but when it's recording it doesn't actually autofocus. Anyway, so this was the October monthly view. It's just a random assortment of washi and stickers that I had. And yeah, like I said, the month started off really fun with we were coming home from a wedding. We went to my sister-in-law's for a block party. I saw Les Miserables for the first time live, which was amazing. And we were celebrating our 11th anniversary together. We went to the pumpkin patch. And then, unfortunately, our kitten, her stomach started getting bloated, probably the second or last week of September. And we finally sought vet attention for it around here because we were realizing it wasn't normal. And then we got some really terrible news about her blood work indicating that she had a disease called FIP, and just dealing with emergency vet and finding this clinical trial that she could be a part of and rushing her over there and starting that treatment, learning how to give pills to my kitten who really didn't want to take pills. They generally don't. So it's just a very whirlwind, crazy month. I think I said this when I filmed the memory keeping videos for these weeks. These last 2 weeks of October did not feel like they really happened. It didn't feel like it was really my life at that point. So I still have memory keeping plan with me's for the really terrible weeks we're going to talk about. If you want to get more information, you can go back and watch those, although I'll probably touch on most of the important stuff in this video. We start here though with the week of September 25th through October 1st. This is a really old kit from Cinderella Paper. We went to my cousin's wedding in Santa Cruz this weekend, and that was so much fun actually. Probably the most fun I've had at a wedding in a while besides my own. But in my experience, it's nice to be a wedding guest and not the actual person in the wedding. You get to just do whatever you want, honestly. But yeah. I met with my new therapist. It was my sister-in-law's birthday, and things were still pretty normal with Clover at this point. But we picked up my brother in LA and drove up to Santa Cruz. We stayed at this place called the Inn at Pasatiempo, which I would recommend. It was really nice. We could have our morning coffee and breakfast by the fireplace in the morning. That was really nice. And then the wedding was at this really beautiful resort called the Chaminade. It's up in the hills. It's bougie. It's real bougie. Probably the bougiest place I've been in a while. So that was that week. Then the next week, more fun stuff. This was the theater kit from Cinderella Paper, the Broadway art, musical art from Kittenish Jess, and that's because I went and saw Les Miserables with 2 of my sisters in San Diego, which was amazing. So glad I went. That was great. And what else happened this week? I wish I had color blocked this kit though. Looking back, I'm doing a lot more color blocking in 2024, and looking back, I wish I had done more of it this year because this kit would look great color blocked, I think. But yeah, I also had that block party. It was a Halloween block party at my sister-in-law's. My husband wore his Mandalorian costume. So yeah, this was a really busy, really fun weekend. Unfortunately, having Les Miserables tunes in my head when my kitten got sick was not great because if you don't know, that musical is incredibly sad and all of the songs are very sad. So when you're going through a rough time, it's not exactly the stuff you want to have stuck in your head. This was a kit from Litter Designs that I thought was perfect for my husband and I's anniversary. We went to the pumpkin patch at the beginning of the week because my husband had this day off, so we thought we would go during the day, which was a smart decision. And then my husband was like, we really need to take the kitten to the vet. I don't think what's going on with her is normal. We thought she was just getting fat, which hindsight is 2020. I feel really bad about that now. But I had literally never heard of this disease before, and I have experience working in animal shelters, so I feel like I felt really stupid, and I still feel really stupid for a long time. But yeah, he took her for x-rays and blood work this day, and the blood took a really long time to come back. We went out for our dating anniversary. The solar eclipse happened on the same day that Clover turned 6 months, and we were 9 months married. And I feel like this solar eclipse, like, put some not great things in motion that finally came to a close with the next solar eclipse in April 2024. I feel like things have been looking up since the April eclipse. This eclipse, while fun to view with our neighbors, I feel like started messing things up for us. Our friends announced to us that they were going to get married, which is exciting. And this kit is leftovers from Litter Designs paired with Plantahana foil. And this was the week where we got the really terrible news from the vet. The blood work came back, and the vet was like, she most likely has something called FIP. She needs to get an ultrasound. The difficulty with that disease is that the vet can know that it is that, or most likely that, but they can't, at this point, they couldn't prescribe anything for it because there was no legal way to do that. So I unfortunately Googled what that disease was, and of course all the first results are your cat's going to die. So I just cried for several days. And we were trying to get an ultrasound scheduled, but like no one was really available. So then the next day it seemed like she was getting worse and that she was feverish. So we took her to the emergency vet. She did have a 106-degree fever, which I think cats run around 100 degrees normally. So even for them, 106 is hot. We left her there overnight so that they could run tests and see. And then we picked her up the next day, and then we were like, what now? So yeah, this was a terrible week. Probably in the top three of worst weeks of my life. I really quickly explained all of that. If you want to know more, you can go back and watch the memory keeping video from that week. This was a kit from Cinderella Paper that I got as a freebie, and I had a different kit scheduled for this week, I remember, but I switched it to this one because what happened this week is I found online a clinical trial that we could enroll our cat in, and so late on this Tuesday night, I emailed that doctor and I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't really know what we're going to do. And then the very next morning, early in the morning, she emailed me and she started calling me and was like, if you can get her here, we can start. And then she was like, oh, you're in California. Well, are you okay with coming back here every 4 weeks? I'm like, yeah, honestly, just sign me up. So I took my kitten on her first airplane ride. It was the first time I've ever traveled with any sort of pet. We went to Colorado. It was freezing, I remember. Like, it was still like probably 80 degrees in SoCal at this point, and it was like 40 at most in Colorado, and we got there late at night, and so it was like even colder. It was like 18 degrees outside, I think. So yeah. And then we met the doctor this day, and I just felt the sense of relief that we had medication in hand, but then of course I had to learn how to give kittens pills. So the first couple weeks of treatment were really tough because she would just spit the pill right out. So we learned how to incentivize and give her lots of treats to get her to take it. We also had to give her an immunostimulant every week. This first round of treatment, so from October to January, it turned out she was actually getting the placebo. Second round of treatment to look forward to February, she actually got put on the real stuff, but she was on the real antiviral no matter what. So yeah, this is where it was like the last 2 weeks really felt like they didn't exist, and it's like, oh my god, this is really our life right now. We're giving our cat like multiple pills a day. That's wild. So we move into November, and my husband had to move because if you watched the last flip through, he accepted a new job 400 something miles away. So he had to move to start his new job. So then I was left alone for a couple months because I didn't want to leave my job in the middle of a semester. And in hindsight, it's good I did that because that meant I got paid my full paycheck through now, basically. But it was really rough. So he was gone, and he would come back on the weekends sometimes, and we had holidays, so he could come back then. But this was not a fun time, but it also went by so quickly. So this was my Halloween week. All of this is like from either Cinderella Paper or Plan a Hannah. Basically, the first milestone with Clover after she got diagnosed was like, okay, let's make it to Halloween. We're just going to make it to each of the major holidays and see how she's doing with us. And so this was the first big thing. She made it to Halloween because if you're not familiar with FIP, basically, especially the form that she had, which is what they call the wet form, where their belly swells up with fluid, it will kill them very quickly. So the fact that she even made it to this point was incredible. This was day 5 of treatment. My in-laws, they adopted a puppy like the weekend before, and then he turned out to have parvo, and I think he's fine now, but it was just like, what the hell is going on that all these poor baby animals are getting these horrific viruses? Not a good time. I don't remember what was going on this day, but it says didn't quit but wanted to. And oh yeah, Clover's belly started looking normal this day. So just like a week into treatment, her belly looked a lot more normal, which was good. I fed her a little bit of avocado. Oh, our friend got proposed to this week. They are also getting married this year. I was really anxious because treatment, giving Clover pills was really hard, but this day went better, so that was good. This was the Taylor Swift kit from Alicia Craft. I did this because my husband came home to visit this weekend because it was a holiday weekend, and we went and saw the Eras Tour movie in theaters. Clover started eating her wet food again because while she was really sick, like, she would only eat dry food for some reason. My husband started his new job. We would FaceTime a lot during that time. Started getting a lot better at giving Clover her pills, but I was still stressed about her appetite because like we were taking her off of an appetite stimulant she was prescribed, and she was still eating, but then like it was just, she had to adjust to not having the extra boost from the appetite stimulant. So I was stressed out, but yeah, I was getting a lot better at giving her pills. I was still going to teach my classes, obviously. I still had work and things like that. My sisters came to visit, and Nathan came to visit. We went and saw the Eras Tour movie. And Clover was really hyper, which was a good thing to see. These were leftovers from a Laner Designs kit. Clover was more willing to swallow her pills. There were a lot of tears shed. There were a lot of nights where I'm like, holding her mouth shut and just being like, you need to swallow this. I learned really well what strategies to use to give a kitten pills. So if you're ever in that situation and you're struggling, DM me. I will hopefully point you in the right direction. There was a giant spider in the apartment as I was FaceTiming my husband, and my phone died as I was FaceTiming him and about to kill the spider. And I screamed at it. My neighbors probably thought I was insane. I was watching a lot of Queer Eye here. That was like a very uplifting show to watch during a very difficult time. So was The Good Place. Oh my god, The Good Place is so good if you haven't watched it, which you probably have because like I watch everything super late. I don't think my husband was able to come visit this weekend. Oh, it's because he was going to come visit for Halloween, for Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving was the next milestone with Clover. So it was like, okay, that's the next way that we'll know that she is making it. My elder cat had like a bloody scab on her chin. She doesn't get as much acne now that we've moved up here, so that's good. I was going to therapy this whole time, which I didn't intend to be seeing a therapist when we got this diagnosis. I had started therapy in September, like a whole month before she got sick, but I will shout out to the therapist I was talking to at that point because I really needed that during this whole experience. My husband flew in for Thanksgiving. We had a nice dinner together, but our elder cat was vomiting a bunch of times, so she went to the vet the week after this. We had dinner with my sister-in-law's family. And then we had to fly to Colorado for Clover's first checkup, and it was actually snowing in Colorado this week. That was the only time I really saw snow on the, like, thick snow on the ground. So that was kind of funny. Like when we went in December, you'll see it didn't snow. There was no snow on the ground. But October and November were like the coldest months that we visited. Then we get into December. Same thing as November. My husband was mostly away during this time and then would come back on the weekends when he was able to. So Clover had her first checkup and things were looking good. And I flew home to Southern California. My husband took a different flight and went back to Sacramento. And then this day, Clover's Christmas stocking arrived because I had finally ordered it. I'm like, okay, it seems like she's going to be here for Christmas, so I want to have that. Her blood test results were looking good. But then she started eating litter, which at the time we all, including the vet, just thought this was a stress issue. In hindsight, this might have been the first symptom of her having neurological problems, like obsessive licking could be a symptom of that. We just didn't realize it at this point. My elder cat was vomiting and like having digestive issues, so I took her to the vet. She started on a bunch of probiotics and I had a freaking breakdown mentally because I'm just like, I can't. What if Evie has the same thing that Clover does? And I don't think that was the case. I think it was just a really high stress situation. But I need to take her to the vet this year. She needs her vaccine boosters this year. Evie does. So actually both my cats do. So we'll probably get blood work done just to make sure she's doing okay. So yeah, I was giving medication to 2 cats now. This is from Cinderella Paper, by the way. And then this was Lantern Designs. I think I forgot to mention that. Okay, so yeah, things got incredibly intense here. We had to reschedule our New Zealand trip in January, so because of what happened with Clover, and we were moving anyway. And my brother got engaged. That was kind of unexpected, but also expected. Cinderella Paper leftovers with Magical Sticker Co. foil. This is where I really got into Hannah Gadsby, who is a great comedian. I recommend them a lot. It was 85 degrees on December 5th. I think this was the last week of classes, and there was an earthquake that really rattled up the house. Had a follow-up appointment for Evie. Things seemed to be going better. And I was saying goodbye to my coworkers at my old job. I also had an interview for my current job this day, and we were halfway through treatment for Clover. I went and got my COVID and flu booster shots, and my arm felt like it was going to fall off. But I haven't been sick since March 2023, so I regret nothing. And then Nathan came home this weekend. We're decorating for Christmas. My husband had to leave. Same deal as the last week. This is Cinderella Paper kit with Magical Sticker Co. foil. Clover got an orange nose freckle, which was cute because then she matches our other cat who also has an orange nose freckle in the same spot. Dealing with a lot of stuff at work, but also computer issues. We were 11 months married. Clover was 8 months old. I was listening to angry Taylor Swift songs because I was just over it at this point. I was really annoyed. I don't know about what. Probably work. It was 80 degrees this weekend. Ugh, I missed the trail behind my old apartment. It was so nice to walk out there. And then this is where we really rescheduled our Air New Zealand flights, which was a pain in the butt. More Cinderella Paper Co. leftovers with Magical Sticker Co. foil. My camera shut off, and then the kitten came in here meowing at me and bit my foot. So that's where we're at. But yeah, I was doing a toy advent calendar with our cats. And then we had to go to Denver again for Clover's second checkup. My husband flew from Sacramento to Denver and met me there. Winter started, but there was no snow on the ground, so I think it's kind of funny because I use these snowflake underlays, but there was no snow in Denver this week. Clover had to get an echocardiogram because the vet heard like a little heart murmur. And at least at this point, it was fine. We'll probably have to get that rechecked sometime this summer if all goes according to plan. And then we flew home and went to my sister-in-law's on, Christmas Eve. So again, another milestone. We made shrimp for both of the cats to celebrate Christmas with them. And then this is the last week of the year. So this kit is from Cinderella Paper. I used it because it was our last Christmas in Southern California. So we spent Christmas together, of course, my husband and I. We watched the Barbie movie. It was Clover's first Christmas, and I did this really funny Jack Skellington Christmas sticker, but I layered Clover's face over it. And I got a flat tire trying to drive my husband to LAX at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So he ended up Ubering there, actually, or taking a Lyft. We're Lyft people more than Uber. So then I was finishing work. Normally I would finish work before Christmas Day, but this year it just didn't work out with Clover's treatment and having to go to Colorado. And then we got into New Year's Eve. My husband came back to visit, and we went to a New Year's Eve event in the town where we lived and watched the King's Speech the night before. So that is the last quarter of 2023. I think I'm going to film one more video where I just flip through the whole planner with music, but thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your support, especially during this kind of rough time in our lives, and I hope 2023 was a little better for you than it was for me, but thanks again, and I will talk to you next time. Oh, my nails kind of match this spread. I like that. All right. Take care. Bye.